guys? Here we are. Go in here. Didn't do a very good job advertising this, but to be honest, it's a little bit embarrassing what I'm doing. It's gonna be, I guess, having a little, you know how it is here. We keep it very casual on the stream, so I need to probably make a bigger deal out of things, but we won a casual Oscar yesterday, so that was kind of cool. Got to see all the fancy people on the TV. Of course, the artists are not invited to the party because we are little cave trolls. But anyway, it was cool to see. And everybody had interesting little speeches. Unfortunately, our director, Bob, got cut off at the end there, which is a little bit sad. But it's okay. I'm sure he'll get his chance in the spotlight. Yeah, I think that was his first feature animation that he's directed. So not too bad for first time, right? Although by the end of it, there were 3 directors, which I'm not sure how that works, but yeah, 3 of them. Hey guys, thank you. Yeah. So, any word from Yelgo? I don't know, not yet. We'll see what he says. I hope he's not. I hope he's happy about it. You know? I hope he's able to it's complicated for him, of course, but I hope he's able to feel proud that this work that he had a huge contribution to got the Oscar in the end. I mean, in the end, he still had a big hand in it, even though it might have not gone the way he wanted, but I think he can still be pretty proud about it. Oh yeah, I can't wait for that, guys. David Fincher and Alberto. What a combo. Hi Cena. Hey Luke. Hey Sunny. Hey Sean. Hey Johan, thanks man. Thanks Max. Yeah, so I guess today I wanted to celebrate the Oscar win with another look. I know we've gone back in here a few times, but it seems like they keep adding more work to this little article here from On Animation, including these original storyboards from Alberto, which is pretty cool. I guess we can take a look at these again. At least the first one. I really love the first one. Alright, here we go. And I hope this doesn't get... it should be fine. I think it'll be fine. But this is the very, very first animation test that Alberto did. This was before even the director had been hired, before... This is just Alberto with the script, and the script from Phil Lord. And that's it. He was working on this project before anyone else, by himself. And by the time I got there, he showed me this thing. And it kind of blew my mind. haven't got Alberto using Blender, but he seems interested. I think he likes that it's free. Yeah, this animation was done in After Effects with the little 3D shapes. But everything here is hand drawn and scanned in. You have only just begun. Then placed in After Effects and colored with Photoshop, I'm guessing. Skyline GTR over there. Your day will come. Your day will come. Your day will come. And from deep inside you, your day. Oh man, I want to watch a whole movie like this. Open your ears and tell me what you hear. 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 Yeah, so I think that was my favorite one. He did a bunch of versions of this trailer, but that's my favorite one. Burbank says, can you talk about what you see when you look at this? For me, it's the economy of frames while getting such impressive atmosphere that it is amazing. The drawings are really, really simple, but so accurate, you know, and very lively. I don't know how he draws like that. It's really crazy. His scribbles, guys. The scribbles are amazing. And yeah, like Spencer's saying, it's amazing how many of these shots kind of made it all the way through the movie. A lot of these shots actually were used multiple times in the movie because of the repeating nature of the different Spiderverse Spider-Men being introduced every time. Yeah, he is a director, actually. You know, the last project short that we worked on, he was a director, so I'm glad, because he does have a good directing eye and sensibility. this sequence with the pipes running around everywhere. Damn. Ah, crazy. Coming to 2018. So this must have been like 2015. This shot right there, yeah. Love that. Comes in front of the frame. Yeah, so that's a lot of those shots made it into the final. It's pretty cool. And then this gets into some of Alberto's paintings, and a few of these paintings got turned into little test shots that we were trying to figure out how to get this look in, but animated in 3D. So this shot in particular, we spent a little bit of time trying to get some of the traffic, like these cars up front, the bus, the taxi, and some traffic and effects in here, so I can show you guys what that looked like. If I can find it, let me see. Or is it in here? So this is, I mean, one of those paintings, it ends up being like a few weeks or up to a month of work sometimes, getting all the animation stuff working. But it's really fun because you have that beautiful painting as a base. Oh yeah, here we're like starting to test out rendering the taxis in that painting. So what we do is we take the painting and kind of wrap it around the model in a dome or 360, and then where's the let me see if I can find that, guys. Where did I put it? Where the hell did it go? Well, I should have planned better, but maybe we'll run into the animated versions later. Yeah, this painting, it's one of the first paintings he did. He had like this set that was they were kind of using this set to lure in all the new artists, because when he shows that set of paintings, you can't say no to this project once he shows you that. This one was that one's in the storyboard too, and this was kind of like where he wanted to do the freeze frame, like comic book style freeze frame paintings in the movie too, where every once in a while there's a freeze frame and it shows like a cool painting or a drawing or something. And they actually kept that in the real movie, which is nice. Of course, it's very labor intensive to work that way, but it looks cool. And then this painting got turned into the actual animation test that And this one actually took a few months to do, with a couple people working on it, and that's, I think, one of the scary things for the studio was seeing the amount of time it took to take a shot, a really complicated shot like this, and try to, figure it out and make it work in 3D. And, I think it might have been a little bit scary for them to see that it, it took a few months to do this one shot. But I mean, the thing is, once you figure out the first shot, then the next ones become easier. So let me see if that one's on here somewhere. Should be down. Where is it? Where is it? I think Raffaello posted it somewhere. Does anyone know where that shot lives? Spider-Man to the Spiderverse. Raffaello. Raffaello's one of the sculptors that we were working with, and he's amazing. This is the most Italian guy I've ever met, but he's really good. You know what? I think I have it here. 1 second. Yeah, Raffaello posted it up, so I went and saved it. Where is it? I believe it's this one right here. Oh, yeah, this is the original version of Miles Morales. Alberto's design and Raffaello's model. We're trying to figure it out. All the textures here are painted in, so it wasn't totally figured out because we have to get this to work in different lighting situations and react to light. But and this was a later version. Still lighting all painted in, so that was sort of a problem for production, but we were still just trying to throw it together and try to figure it out as we go. This is the later version of SPDR and Penny Parker. This was this oh, that's the original Green Goblin. I love the sweat. Amazing. Tombstone. There's so many cool versions of Tombstone coming through. I think this might be the latest final version. For Spider-Man, I love how Raffaello's just sighing in the background. This Spider-Man, we believe was based on Alberto. It's like kind of how he looks. And then this is that shot we were just talking about, jumping from the building. So that took a few months for like 2 seconds, and that's why Sony was like, what the fuck? It's taking too long. Oh, that one's really cool too. They had some really great artists at upstairs in the 3D department that did all the like halftone and got all the drawing, like the halftone lines and the shading. Let me see if I can freeze the frame there for a second. Yeah, like all this stuff was interesting. And then all these weird layers on the suit, like he wanted to have this sort of rainbow look. See this rainbow oil slick type of effect on the spider web. And all this extra crap here. So this bathroom is painting by Yun Ling, and then I think Alberto went over and did some extra little graffiti and stuff on top. And then more Raffaello. He was kind of inventing as he went this method of building stuff, but not in the regular 3D way. Where he was more like trying to treat it like paper, like brush strokes, sort of try to get that, mimic the paintings. And he was doing a good job. Excuse me. Oh yeah, here's Wanda, the original version of I love that Mary Jane. Love the hair. So with the hair was another thing that was driving us crazy because, we can't really use regular hair generators, like CG hair generator for this. You have to. I mean, the way he was doing it, or we were doing it, was just doing it by hand, like each hair stroke individually, one by one. It was crazy. Just doing some shoes. I really like this kind of scrappy, dirty modeling. It's really cool. It's something different, You got all the different colors going on in there. It really does look like a painting. And this was taking some brush textures from, I don't know who gave us these brushes. Maybe Robert Bull had painted these, or Neil Ross Campbell. Somebody. Just trying to get some 3D foliage going. See, hello. And this is actually Blender right here. So I got to do a little shot on the hair for Wanda. And so all of these are actually just Blender curves, one by one. So everything is hand placed here, and it took forever. And then of course the character sculpt is by Raffaello. Here. Oh, and then this is one with some shading on it. So it, this one is flat, no shading, and then we did another one with shading. Oh my fuck. And he wanted some black lines in the hair too, black lines on the character, lines on the face. The lines on the face was also really a little contention point for a long time. Alberto, every time we had the meetings, Alberto would have to be like, yeah, or somebody would always comment like, oh, these lines on the face, I don't know if they're working well. They kind of look ugly. But Alberto would have to defend it every single week or whatever, and they ended up keeping it in the movie. So I guess somebody liked them. What else do we have? Let's go back to the good stuff here. Some tenements, New York. The other thing he's really into is that whenever there's a reflection, it's warped and bending. That's always cool to see. So try to get some of that in the models. Oh man, this was the his Penny Parker. This was Jefferson, the Miles's dad. Genki, the roommate, was gonna be a much bigger part of the story in the first version of the script, but I guess there's a lot of characters in the movie, so they decided to kind of just take him. He's just there. He doesn't really do anything, but in the comic, at least, he's a big part of the comic of Miles Morales. Okay, I think that's Alberto. And there's, tons and tons and tons more work, but this is Patrick O'Keefe. I didn't get to work with him, but I think he came in with the second team that got assembled after Alberto left, or Alberto was fired. And I think I was reading that Patrick is a video game guy, and he came in to art direct. But the funny thing in movies or feature animation is art direction. You would think that art director is like the head of all art stuff, but it's weird. Like they have the weird titles like production designer is sort of in charge of all of the art stuff, and then an art director is in charge of like you can have an art director in charge of environments and one in charge of characters, and they're sort of taking care of their own specialty. Yeah, but Patrick did some really cool paintings. I wish I could have worked with some of these guys on the second team. They had a really good art team. So they're still keeping a lot of the graphic feeling, and sort of taking some of those shapes and just elements from Alberto's work, but putting a new twist on it. It's a little different. I think it's a little bit less graphic. Well, that one's pretty graphic. This is flat. And she's using that rake brush a lot. Oh yeah, and apparently he's also a graffiti artist, so he got to do some, go back to his childhood and do some do some graffiti for the movie. It's pretty cool. And then this is the lab, Roxanne lab. I think that's Patrick. And then next we've got, who's next? We've got Dave Blake. I don't know how to pronounce his name. He also came on the second team and did a lot of color keys. So I didn't get to meet David, but pretty nice stuff. He's got really good color sense. an interesting take on it. It sort of looks like painting with cellophane tape. Everything looks sort of like see-through a little bit, so it's interesting. Oh, I like that scene. That's a good one. Alright, that's David, or Dave, sorry. And then Mr. Rob Rupel. Yeah, so I guess he got to do a bunch of color scripting too, which he is of course he's a master of color, so it's pretty cool. And he's also really into graphicalizing stuff and just very flat, simple shapes. So yeah, him and Alberto are always working together, usually, and their styles work pretty well together. This is Uncle Aaron's apartment. And so, yeah, I'll get a lot of these. Ooh. And then, while I was there, he was only doing these like really, really finished paintings. So these are, multiple days or maybe a week or more sometimes. But, oh, back to color scripts. Yeah, like these kind of paintings just take forever, but they're so cool. It's like, I don't know. These paintings are so fun to just get lost in because there's so much little details and stuff. I think Rob has a little bit more of a painterly style than some of the other guys. Like, he'll have a little bit more, I don't know, it looks a little bit more analog, like analog textures and spongy type of textures, and a little bit more gritty, I guess. Whereas some of the other painters would be a little bit more graphic, or not more graphic, but more, I guess their textures would be simpler in this case. But then these must be really fast because he's just, looks like he's blasting through them. And a little bit of a cutout filter over there, maybe. Maybe he's taking some of his older paintings and reusing bits and pieces here and there. I don't know. Oh, spoiler. He's tied up with a controller. Man, he did so much work. Holy crap. Ooh, I love that metal pattern there. So, if you guys don't know Rob's work, he's been in the animation industry for a long time, and he also did a lot of fantasy illustration, and he worked on the Uncharted series of games too for Naughty Dog. So he was art director at Naughty Dog for many years. I think Uncharted 1 through 4 or something like that. And he's just yeah, he's been around for animation stuff. pretty cool to get to work with Rob and just bug him and look over his shoulder at his paintings and I don't know, just be annoying to him, you know. um, oh yeah, we got some 50s style. Oh my gosh, so many. Jesus, man. He did a lot of work. uh, Alright, I think it's cycling through here. Yeah. So, that's Rob. Next we've got Peter. So Peter is one of he is one of those secret weapon painters here. He was at Sony at the time when the projects. I mean, he's been at Sony for the past few years working on Smurfs movies. So he worked on like Smurfs and then Smurfs 2 and then Smurfs 3 and I've been a big fan of his work. Just, you know, seeing his paintings online and stuff. He does these crazy gouache paintings. Like that's kind of his thing and they're always very colorful and he likes to use pink and green and and orange and all these weird colors and somehow they all come together nicely at the end. I believe my theory is that he might be like slightly colorblind or something and he just throws in all these crazy colors because nobody else does colors like this, like Peter. Um, so yeah, luckily he was at Sony at the time, and I guess Smurfs was wrapping up, and so I was like, "Hey, Alberto, there's this guy named Peter, and he's a freaking genius. you need to you need to get him over here." So thankfully, Peter just made a quick little commute from one side of the building to the other side of the building, and we got to have some Peter paintings in the movie. And this Miles looks like he's blasted out of his mind. He's on another planet here. And then he's hiding Alberto's paintings in there. It's nice. This is crazy. Peter's also very into toys, like vintage toys and Japanese toys, Taiwanese toys, and 80s stuff. So, yeah, his desk is like full of little weird pink and orange and green, neon green little dinosaurs and monsters and stuff. So, he can definitely, I think he can relate here, or he's a toy guy. Oh, that's it? No. Okay, wait a minute. That's not it. Alright, so this is some more paintings. This is Craig Mullins here. He's doing these really, really loose paintings in the beginning, and I think eventually he got wrangled into doing more like graphic stuff. This is Mike Winkleman, Neil Ross. Here's Peter again. Yeah, so the really distinctive thing about Peter's stuff is number one, the colors are always like jumping around in a really entertaining way. And then number two, his shapes are always a little bit like cartoony almost, like really, really simple and almost like funny how simple they are. Like this just block over here, but it makes it really charming, you know. Um, I think who's this? Oh, this is Yunling, one of his earlier paintings on the project, where he's kind of like figuring out the style. So I think in this case, the painting is a little bit more photographic than his later ones. It's a little bit less flat than his later ones, in terms of style. This one by Yoon was one of the first ones where everyone was like, "Holy shit, this guy is gonna just, yeah, this guy just blew everybody away with this painting." Um, just the lens, it's that strong telephoto, that really really flat shapes, the amazing drawing going on here, the all this crap back here, just everything in here felt great. Police department. This is Neil Ross. His lab. I think in general, his concepts tend to be very abstract and very like. It's almost like he's throwing a bunch of shapes at the page and then, doing the Rorschach thing where you pick and choose what you want to keep. Or that's how it feels to me. And then Big Sur. This was Warden Light, which was Jessica Rossier and Bastien Rivet, and they're like a couple, and they do freelance work from France. And so this is one of their first paintings on the project, and you can see it's like, pretty photographic. It's, they're taking pictures of buildings and sort of arranging them into this composition here, and adding in a few explosions here and there. But you'll see by the end of the project, their paintings completely do a 180. Like, it took them a little while to get into the groove, but once they do, it's an amazing transformation in their work. It's really cool to see. Yeah, this is another early one from them where they're trying to figure out the graphic style. It looks like they're painting over a 3D base or something. Okay, and here's Yoon. Again, this row of houses just crazy. And here's Craig. So Craig's starting to get really, opaque here. Very, 100% opacity. Yoon again with his beautiful fences. Neil Ross. I'm not sure what's going on here. It looks interesting though. Yeah, so this was one direction that Neil was taking the Roxanne headquarters, but it ended up being very different in the end. He had another concept that was like really the opposite of this, like very clean, modern. It's just like rectangle, and that's the one that everybody loved. Probably the modelers loved it the most because nobody wants to model this thing. Yeah. Again, this is Warden Light. They're in the beginning, and they're still using photos, and they're still like trying to figure out how to make it look like that graphic, flat, painted look. But basically, I mean, Alberto had to tell them, like, don't use photos. Just draw it. Yeah, every single little thing needs to be drawn. Every single little thing needs to be painted. And it took him a while to break out of that because I think that's the way that most artists, a lot of art is done for movies and for games and stuff. Is like you take a photo and you fiddle with it a little bit, and then you're done. So it's very fast. It's fast to work that way. But in this case, it's not about it's also about the painting itself. It's not only about the concept or the composition or whatever. It's also the strokes and the textures and the paint and the hand touch. So everything had to be done by hand in this case, which is different. But but no, yeah. So Joseph, this is photos here. You can see like little bits and pieces of photos sticking through. But I mean, this is all painted. This looks like I think it's painted. I believe it's painted. Not sure. This is 100% paint. Anything Alberto does is going to be 100% painted. You can guarantee that. This is Mike Winkleman, aka Beeple, doing his thing, his 3D stuff. I love his walk cycles. They're so weird. What the hell? Now, this is one of my early Collider. I think this is like my first Collider model. But, the Collider went through a million different versions and a lot of different people. This is Alberto over here. Alberto again. Oh yeah, this is my Collider. This is done in Moto, but I'll have more. Yoon, Alberto, Collider. This model was like months of work, but it didn't make it to the movie, unfortunately. Yeah, so this was my Collider. My version had these pipes in it, which were supposed to match up with Alberto's storyboards there, because they're running along the pipes and jumping and parkour crap all over the Collider. I think this is Craig. This is one of my favorite ones because I love the ratio of this bottom part down here and all these little really, really bright lights and little blips and pops here that are like so tiny. And then everything else, the whole rest of the painting is controlled. Like you don't see these super, super bright pops anywhere back here, which is so cool because it's like the ultimate restraint. You're painting this whole thing and you're waiting all the way to the end, and then you just go pop pop pow 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 with all these little blips and blops, and that's what makes it so cool. This is Rob Ruppel's painting, and then some Alberto on top of it. Combo painting. Neil Ross, I think? Or no, is it? It is, okay. Neil Ross. This building here was a little structure we found in Culver City, like near the studio, or near Sony. And Neil Ross is a real architecture nerd, so he was like going around and taking pictures of everything, all the weird architecture stuff. Here's Neil Ross again. This is Rob, Mike, Neil Ross again. Neil's the one that will do this kind of shit. Like when we zoom in there, this is something really magic happening. Every little piece is different. Every little piece is a little abstract painting. There's random ass triangles here. Rakes, triangles, squares, polygons. Once in a while he'll try to draw a building if he feels like it. But usually he's just like, no, I'm just gonna do this instead. You want me to draw a building? I'll give you a building. This is a building here, right? That's a building. Right, guys? So I think Neil Ross wants to be an abstract painter, but he has to draw buildings to pay the bills. That's my theory. So he tries to he'll disguise his abstract painting as a painting of buildings. That's how I feel like this is. And it's really cool. 'Cause nobody else does this. Yeah. There you go. I could frame that maybe. What is that? What is this supposed to be over here? Stairs? And yeah, trust me, I'm not knocking this work at all. I'm in love with this stuff. It's it's almost like he's trolling us. He's trolling us in the best way. And then this is Craig. So Craig is like a chameleon, man. Craig can do anything. He can do his really painterly stuff like Sargent style, and then he can do this super graphic stuff. And again, when we zoom in, it's really gets funky. Each and every single window is different. That's the key. You know, you can't do this with any other way than just one by one, like hand painting the whole thing. And then this is Neil's later version of the lab that's a lot simpler. I think everyone loved this version because it was really clean and iconic. Here's Neil again. And of course, when we zoom in, it sort of looks like an interior, but just enough to make you believe. Yeah, I love this painting. I love this shadow right here. And this right here. Just this whole area feels... Look at this shape here. Whoop, whoop, whoop. It's got a big shape and then all these small shapes, and then it's hard and soft, and then hard again, and then soft again. It's like a little roller coaster right here. It's all round, and then it's straight, 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 round. and the squiggles, guys. I've been trying to work on this. I don't know how you all are on your squiggle game, but this is I need to work on it this year. Get those squiggles going. And the spikies. That's another thing. The spikies are a big part of it. And then the rakes. These paintings are, in general, I think they're a few days each. Maybe like 2 days or more. I mean, some of the city ones take forever because they're really complicated, you know. So this might be a couple days probably, or a week. I love this. Does he actually know math, Neil Ross? I wonder. Like, does he know what's going on here? This guy looks so weird. What is going on with his face? Oh man. And then we got like some apartment buildings over here. You know, I've looked at these paintings so many times, but every time there's something new, you know, like there's just so much detail in here. All right, let's zoom out a little bit. More Neil Ross. This is the Roxanne Lab in this was gonna be in Big Sur. I mean, all the big trees here, which is on the California coast. This is Peter Chan again. Crazy colors. That's how you know you're looking at Peter Chan. Is like there's gonna be pink, there's gonna be orange, there's gonna be purple, lilac, and there's gonna be this green color. Those four colors are gonna be there no matter what. This is Rob. This is Craig. This is a weird painting. I feel like it feels really chaotic, like I don't know. And then this area back here is strange too. And the layout of the buildings is a little strange too. Like, oh, there's a couple skyscrapers and then nothing. And then they just seem like oddly spaced apart. I feel like. I really love this street area, how we're sort of gradating the detail from this type of detail level, and then slowly it becomes more blocky, and then more, then just a bunch of squares, and then just some dots. It's so cool. And then what happens back here? It's great. Woo! Jeez. Dream High says, would it be fine to use Blender in the industry? Yes. I mean, I used Blender on this Spider-Man project, and they cleared it with their lawyers. There's no problem with using Blender. I mean, it's free. Burbeck says, any tips on doing more abstract art in terms of shape design, tools, improving color choices? Good question. I guess you could try to do studies of real life, but I know Peter draws like this where you're doing your still life, but you draw your objects like they're made out of polygons, like low poly, like an old video game, and just, if instead of a ball, if you have a sphere, you just make it into a octagon or something like that, and just try to make things into simpler versions of themselves. And then for color, I don't know. For color, the best way is to just paint. You can do studies, you can do still life, and just do not color pick from photos. That's the thing, because you need to learn what colors fit where and how to make the colors that you need. Um, with Alberto, was it safe to use 3D bases? Well, none of these paintings really have any 3D base. So, I mean, you could if you wanted to, but not really. A lot of the work I did end up doing was 3D because, well, basically there was two types of sets. There was sets based off photos. Like a lot of these are based on photos. Just, and then there's made up stuff. Like this is made up. And then a lot of the stuff that I was working on, like the collider and Uncle Aaron's apartment, and some of the sets were all just made up. So those ended up being 3D because there's no photo to base them off of. And then Tax says, "What did you use Blender for? Character models?" I'll show you. I used it for rendering and for some of the hair I showed earlier. This hair. So we were doing hair tests for Spider-Gwen. So all the hair here is done with Blender using curves. And here's another version. Oh my god. With some shading. So Blender here for the hair, for rendering. And then I also use Blender for rendering some of this stuff here. Oh my So this one was rendered in Blender. Built in Modo because I was sort of transitioning over to Blender at that time, but yeah, you could build all the. This would be great for Blender because it's got a lot of things that use. You could use a bend modifier here, some arrays, some. Yeah, I wish I would have had Blender and Eevee at that time to do this, because this would have been a huge time saver to do it in Blender. Did I use grease pencil for the hair? No, I didn't use any grease pencil. Those are all just curves. And then I also did a bunch of vehicles. I think I rendered this in Modo, but I mean, either or. It's the same thing. So that police car. What else do we have? We had a lot of vehicles. I basically got to work on all the traffic, all the vehicle stuff for the movie. Where is it? Oh, here's the test shot I was talking about in the beginning. We were trying to take this painting and put some 3D, replace the painting cars with 3D cars. And the way this works is you just use the painting as a reflection. So you just wrap the painting 360 around the model, and then you also have to put in certain lights, like maybe this white light and these yellow lights here. Pretty specific and bright, so you put a card there, a little light card, and then you might put some purple light over here to get the bus to reflect. Then you gotta make sure your bus has the correct bulge in the windows so that you get that wavy kind of texture there. And then think that's it. But then this shot got taken over by the 3D department upstairs, and then they went in and replaced all of these vehicles up here, put in some traffic, put in some rain, made the lights blink, made Spider-Man come down and swing. I don't think I have that. I don't know where that one went. And then this one was also Blender right here. This was a test, just a little test to show, how, if we get some paintings and paste them onto some geometry and move them around in 3D. It never got finished though, so this is still like sort of rough. But it was just trying to figure out how it would work. Oh, thanks, Tech. Game Render says, how long did you work on the project? I was there for, I think, about a year or so. And, yeah. Thanks, Lloyd. Thanks, Stream High. Is the background in some part of the movie can be just 2D? Yeah. Yeah, that's what we were trying to do, at least under Alberto. We were trying to make it so that these paintings that the artists are doing are going to be on the screen, untouched, So it's a mixture of 3D and 2D. Like you might have a 3D character that's walking around in front of the 2D background. Or you might take the 2D background and maybe take different layers of it. Let's say you have a forest and you have different layers of trees, and you split off the different layers and then you arrange those in 3D, and then you can have the character sort of moving through the 2D/3D environment. Alright, and then this is some of my stuff. Control room for the collider. I think this one didn't make it through. This was Spider-Man's basement lab, and this one also didn't make it through. This is a little bit more of a, humble, regular person type of lab. I think the one in the movie is a lot cooler. And this guy made it in. This is in the movie. So if you see any box trucks, those will be this model. And the models, it's tried to get a lot of flat black materials on it, and also flat gray materials, and build it sort of like out of paper. Also tried to get a lot of lines, these black lines that will sometimes float off of the surface of the vehicle, so it looks like it was sort of drawn on top. And this is the original drawings I did for the vehicles, just to get an idea. And this is one of the only paintings I got to do for the movie. I'm a little bit sad that I didn't get to do more, but it's okay. I think it was just really fun. It's really exciting to see all these painting masters doing their thing on the show. So I tried to, like, when I finally got my chance, I was like, okay, I've got to try to absorb all of this juice. And this painting took me forever and ever and ever, because there's just so many layers to it. But it was fun in the end. This is the bus again. The most fun part of the bus, I think, was trying to get these windows to do this little wavy bulge dance. Oops. And then this is the bus sketch. Another version of the collider interior. We were going for the Russian aesthetic, mixed with American aesthetic over here with the cup holders. And this is the only other painting I got to do for the show. And this is Uncle Aaron's apartment. So I'm really glad that this set sort of yeah, this set kind of happened in the movie. I got to get to say I worked on something. So this couch was based off of one of this really weird red couch in the at Sony, and then all this other stuff in the background, all this audio equipment is based off my uncle Andy, um, who is a electrical engineer, and he likes to build his own amps and receivers and stereo equipment, and he's always like trying to do experiments on me. And I kind of feel like, yeah, maybe Uncle Aaron and Uncle Andy would have the same type of audio equipment lying around the house, around the apartment. And my Uncle Andy also likes to build his own speakers too, so thought maybe he could have some just homemade audio equipment lying around. Would be cool. And then of course some vacuum stuff, a multimeter, um, all that stuff. And yeah, Uncle Aaron is a electrical engineer in the movie, so that was kind of cool. This is a motorcycle that ends up in the movie too. Although you don't see it really, it's you see basically a giant lens flare. um, but yeah, this is Prowler's bike here. We also were thinking of doing like a vintage, classic New York stuff, but that didn't happen. Now this is my version of a Camry or a Accord. It's a Camry mixed with an Accord mixed with all of that. Um, these were some of my concepts for SPDR, which didn't make it in, but it was fun. And the comic book version one looks extremely similar to the Evangelion. So I don't know. These are pretty lanky and tall. Also, I think they still got some of that Eva DNA. Was there mapping or projection? Yeah, there's a lot of mapping or projection, I think. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there for the end, so I don't know how they did it at the end, but I think it's important to find the balance in the setting between absurdly expensive living space and Resident Evil 7. Okay. Is that for Uncle Aaron's apartment? Nice works. How do you feel when some of the stuff you work on doesn't make it? Well, it's kind of sad, because you spend weeks or months on it and it's your baby, but it's okay. It's fine. Some stuff makes it in, some stuff doesn't. That's natural, and that's just how it is. Sometimes the thing that makes it in, you like it better than the one you did anyway, so it's fine. These are some more spider mechs. Did a whole model of this thing even. Had a turntable. Let me see if I can find a turntable. PDR, where are you? Where's the turntable? Ugh, I am so disorganized. Sorry. But yeah, Uncle Aaron's apartment. This is more of a bachelor pad version. But still, he's got his little engineering desk and all his parts bin of resistors and capacitors and all that. And the PlayStation 4. Okay, I think this is cycling through. Got another little video of the lab. It's supposed to be like a photo lab. So he's got this little sink over there, and chemicals, and yeah. guess while I'm on my stuff, I'll show a couple rough models of Prowler's boot, some rough sketches for Prowler stuff. Um, I'm not sure who did the final version, but somebody, ended up taking this further, detailing it, making it a lot nicer for the final version. And same thing. I think it was Kashar. Or the problem is, I wish I could have. Anyway, yeah, this is the Prowler boot concepts, which were in turn based off of Julio Iglesias' Prowler sketches. And then this is a little rough model of the boot. Pretty low detail, but just wanted to get the proportion and the shape and the main idea. And then the gloves, Prowler's gloves. Again, a pretty low detail model. But in some ways, I feel like this matches the paintings in terms of the simplicity level. Oh yeah, and then this is another shot of the lab. There's a close-up of the cup holder station there. You have giant buttons. They need you just press one button at a time. I think, yeah, all this stuff is all geometry in here. No textures. It's all just polygons, and this was really fun to do. Got to do a couple little squigglies for the SPDR bot. Got to do a couple of Miles suits, although none of these made it in. And, did I already show this? This is a test of the vehicles to see what they would look like in 3D. I'm trying to get the reflections going, trying to get the light, the drawing lines on there, and trying to stretch them back. Also, 12 frames per second here. Number one, because I was lazy, I didn't want to render that long. Number two, because I thought it was cool to have a lower frame rate, sort of, that looks like 2D animation. So I don't want to take credit for that, but I did start bringing these to the meetings, and people are like, why is this low frame rate? And I did kind of, I guess, request that in one of the meetings. I was like, can we do a lower frame rate on 2s or something, because it looks like 2D animation. And I think at the time Alberto was like not into it. He was like, no, I'd rather just have it be smooth. But they did eventually switch it to 12 frames per second, which is kind of cool. Okay, and then what else we have? Yoon again. Yoon is like superstar. He was a video game artist working at Ubisoft in Montreal for many years, and I've been a huge fan of Yoon's work. All of his paintings are just amazing, and I knew he does slightly graphic stuff, but not this graphic usually. Let me try to find some of his old stuff. or not old, but like his. So this is the stuff I know him for, like this and this and this, like um and that. Let me see. Oh, Blogspot. Okay, this is probably old stuff here. Oh my god, I've never seen these actually. What? So yeah, like even though he's not doing the same style, like the graphic style, you can tell he's simplifying stuff and he has those shapes. He has the composition, he has the drawing ability, he has the colors. It's so it's not a big jump for him to go from this to doing the kind of work that he's doing in the movie. And yeah, he's doing graphic stuff too, actually. So, oh my god, that's so awesome. So the cool thing about working with Alberto is basically you can any artist that you really love, you just ask him. You just say, "Hey, can we get this guy?" and and most of the time it happens because people want to work with Alberto. So we reached out to him and he signed on. He's working remotely from Canada. And it was just like Christmas. Every time he sends in a painting, it is like Christmas. And so, yeah, Yoon is the best. Where's his, where were we? Sorry. Okay, so yeah. So Yoon goes from those paintings to these paintings in not that like no time at all. He picks it up. He gets the style like instantly. It's pretty crazy. And then not only does he get the style, he's like adding to it. He's you can definitely tell it's his stuff, like he has a feeling to his shapes. His angles are always really interesting. Um, his energy is always very loose and accurate. Yeah. And his fences are world class fences for sure. Oh my god, that's crazy. Yeah, I think Yoon did some of my favorite paintings for sure. Move that out of the way. They credited him wrongly in the book, by the way. So this painting is in the art of book, and they credit it as Neil Ross, but it's Yoon. But oh well. Then here's Warden Light, which is interesting because these guys, like I was saying before, they came in. They're freelancers, so they're used to doing a lot of photo bash work, and that's like how they normally do stuff. So they came in photo bashing the shit out of everything, and then by the end of it, they did a complete 180. Like so, this is pretty much one of the first ones they sent in, and yeah, it's like it's 99% photos here. This one too, really early one, photos everywhere. And then this is much later, and you can see it's all painting here, and the shapes are designed, the reflections are designed. There's more life in everything here. And this one too. I think this is all painted here. Yeah, it looks like it's all painting. Yeah, that's painted, I believe. They're getting a little bit of the Craig Mullins and Rob Rupel influence in here with these gritty textures. Yeah, that's really nice. Got all the painting in there. Really simple graphic stuff. But also when they start when so that now they're starting to paint more. They're starting to, you know, do every single stroke. But at the same time, the next thing that they're figuring out is, I feel like, the shapes. So they're starting to also simplify the shapes a little bit and make them, more clean, more designed, adding in some extra strokes here and there. And tilting some stuff. Yeah, that's great. It's really interesting to see how all the different artists treat these subjects, and or I guess like how their artist filter. um, that's great. Yeah, that's Warden Light. They did a ton of work. Way more than this, I think. Um, and then Yashar. I didn't get to meet Yashar, but he's really good. Holy crap. I love this painting. Wow. So you can see the style's pretty different here, right? From the previous work, but I think maybe it's even simpler and a little bit more designed, or more, you know, it looks a little bit more animation-y and more, versus the other stuff was a little bit more illustration-y. That's how I feel like. And this is Yashar's SPDR. Got some cool graphics on the face there. Man, this guy can draw. That's really cool. Oh man, really love these shapes in here. It's awesome. I love this. He's like, "Ay, oh, oh no." Oh. I love how he simplified the gloves there to just a couple spikes. It's so cool. Oh man. That character was really cool. Oh, okay. So Yashar took the Prowler to the finish, looks like. Signature pose. this stripy one. Those are cool. Yeah, a lot of work. A lot of work. I mean, it happens a lot. A lot of designs end up going through multiple artists and lots of versions. What a cool assignment. Oops. Man, that's a great painting. Ooh. Yep. Damn. Wish I could have worked with Yashar. That's awesome stuff. Wendell to Lit. I also didn't get to work with Wendell. Oh, this is the end of the movie right here. Flushing. Cool. Yuki. Okay, Yuki did a ton of work. Holy shit, Yuki did about 1 billion paintings for this movie. And I don't understand how he did so much work. I have no idea. But it's pretty amazing. So yeah, Yuki took that Uncle Aaron painting that I did and sort of completed that whole set, and you know, that was only one view, so he kind of finished. I mean, he did the whole thing, so it's pretty cool. A lot more detail in here, a lot more extra elements, a lot of cool bachelor pad stuff. You know, you gotta have the lava lamp. Oh, I have one just like that. Gotta have the swords. What does he have here? Is that a mix of N64 and Dreamcast? Nice. And this is the Peter Parker lab, but like all pimped out. He's got the gamer chair, he's got the gamer microscope, gamer Red Bull. Oh my god. This is insane. I like how they have these web structure to them. It's kind of cool. All right, this is Miles' room, based off of a painting by Alberto, but I think Yuki ended up filling out some extra details over here, the toys and stuff, and got this poster. The rice cooker is a nice detail because Genki, you know, gotta have a rice cooker. And yeah, all these posters and stuff. A lot of new details in here. Red X Invitational, guys. Red X. um, ooh, those are cool. I wonder if this is based off an actual, or I guess that's just gentrification in general. But if this is a real place. Okay. Ooh, that looks kind of violent. What the hell, man? So much work. So much work. Oh my god. Oh, this is based off of our little test scene in the beginning. Wonder if we can find that one. Wow. This is Peter Chan's dog, Monty, right here. The Frenchie. This is Grand Marshall Square or something. What is it called? Next to Prospect Park in Brooklyn. There's Bob Persichetti and Peter Ramsey, the two directors. Bob was the first director, and then eventually Peter joined on. That's cool, man. Okay, that's Yuki. And I know he's got more work. It's just it's not all in. They didn't find all of it. There's more. And then this is Zach. Holy crap. Zach did amazing work. Zach's got really good colors. He's also a painter. He does a lot of gouache paintings. You can tell he can paint. Very loose, very, I guess, juicy, bold stuff. I really like that one. Looks like they were going pretty fast on this set, probably trying to get all these ready for the trailer and then put that trailer out. It looks like all these were in the trailer. He's got so much more work. We gotta actually, here, let's look at his Instagram. Yeah, he did a lot of cool stuff. God, there's so much work. And he paints too. Actually, a lot of these guys that were working on the show, they paint, traditionally with gouache or oil paint or whatever, and I think that's a really good way to learn how to do this kind of stuff if you're interested in it. Man, this is sorry guys, this video is This stream is taking a long time actually, and so I might have to break this into two, because we're not even like halfway there. Holy shit. But yeah, I might have to do this in two, guys. But anyway, thanks a lot for watching. I don't know. I'm glad that this whole thing happened, even though there was a little bit of drama. It's overall been a pretty exciting experience to just watch this thing happen. And yeah. Anyway, um, aside from that, any announcements? I think I've got a couple things coming. We've got another Blender class happening in March, and that is registration is open for that, so you can see that in the description. And also, I've been working on a little drawing program. It's really stupid and simple, but the killer feature right now is that you can draw on the screen, and then you press a button, and you press the wobble button, and then the lines will just slowly crawl away, and they'll just like squiggle off the screen. So I'm excited to show you guys that program soon. Anyway, so yeah, let me post the link to this thing too. Alright guys, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'm probably gonna do this again at some point and cover the rest of the art, because there's a ton of more amazing work, especially the character designers, of course. So yeah, we gotta keep going on this next time. Okay, see you later. Have a good day.